I think it would be so fun for us to do a series where maybe it's just one day or 2 days where you take somebody that's well known, a famous person, out into the forest and you murder them. Just kidding. Your boy Cliff here, Andre over here. We are we're in it. We are doing another session here. Andre's got a really cool concept. He says that he wants to pitch me. I'm excited for that. Now, it seems as though Andre is always pitching me ideas. I promise we're going to do some of these where I pitch him ideas, and then he can just take them, crumple them up, throw them in the garbage. And I'm excited. There's nothing I enjoy more than getting my ideas rejected. That's how I win at life. Right there. All right.
So once in a while, I'm just going to be like, this is bullshit. We're not doing that.
I hope so. All right. Maybe. Enjoy the episode. This is honestly how organic this whole thing is we're just chatting on Zoom, talking about it. We're like, we should hit record. And then once it was done, we're like, let's just turn that into an episode.
For sure.
So now you have episode 1. You have that before this one. This is episode 2. And just for anybody watching, we've got the Instagram account. So you could follow us, Instagram.com/BigBushCompany. So that's one place you could follow us. And the other place is YouTube. So that's exciting as well. And that's the same one, youtube.com/BigBushCompany. And we're pretty pumped about that. Website's in the works. Yeah, follow us along on the adventure. Now, let's get into this.
Okay, sounds good.
Got a cool concept.
Okay. Well, I actually have 2 cool marketing concepts. And I don't know when or how, but I'm hoping those who are watching this are going to be able to offer some feedback, because it's going to actually allow us to help build it based on what they think would be really cool. And there's 2 of them. Before I get into that though, I mentioned to you something on text, and then I want your feedback on it, because I do only typically when I do my stories for my own channel, I'm sitting in my car or at home, but for Big Bush, I've always been standing up. And I mentioned to you, it'd be cool if I had a Big Bush banner in the background.
Yeah, and what was my response?
You're like, it was somewhat sarcastic and maybe condescending. It was like, really though?
I think this was it. This was it. You said, you go, I need a Big Bush drop cloth behind me for when I do my videos. LOL. And I responded, do you though? Question mark, LOL. And then you fell apart. You're like, maybe not, sad face, then LOL, and then you went back into pitching why you need it.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I think all of our communication should be in a response where it could be construed either way.
Because that really, I mean, you could take that a couple of ways. I'm like, do you though? Like, do you? That could be good, but it's mostly not.
Yeah. So, but I was thinking, because you and I, we've been talking for a long time to do a podcast. This might be blending into that, or this just might be the way it's done. Eventually, we'd like to do a side-by-side. And you mentioned the whole idea of having like just a cool environment, you know, where you and I are side-by-side. We would probably have a Big Bush background anyways, right?
Yeah, more than likely. That's the thing I have a hard time with, and I'm actually curious to throw this back at anybody watching this. What YouTube shows do you watch where you really like the set they're on? See, I really like the one from The Fighter and the Kid. I think they do a great job with that. Joe Rogan's is all right. It's not my favorite. Obviously, his super successful, but I don't think that has anything. I don't know that the success is weighted on how good your set is, but having a great set is really fun. And I want something myself. I really like what The Fighter and the Kid does. But there's a whole bunch out there that just use like a clean black backdrop. You could think of Hot Ones, just a black background. They sit at a table across from each other. So I'm curious what you guys think, and what would be really helpful. Guys could type out the name of the YouTube channel you watch.
Oh, we can check it out.
Yeah, people could screenshot it, send it to us. I'm curious to get feedback from other people.
Yeah, that would be pretty neat.
That's one thing I'm not good at, like set design. I have a major weakness there.
Okay. You have to have one, right? You have to have one weakness.
Well, I mean, it's the only one that I know of that I'll
That's all I can think of. Okay, so you want me to jump into my pitch?
Let's do it. We'll do a little drum roll here. No, we'll do some sort of like really exciting, like music. You're about to pitch. It's really epic. Here it is, the build up. It's happening right now. It's happening.
Okay.
So let's get into it.
So here it is. My thought is most of the people, my assumption would be most of the people who are following us are those who are into outdoor adventure, bushcraft gear, or those who just want to watch a couple goofballs messing around on screen, right? So here's my thought. I want to do let's say a 3 to 5 day, we don't know which one will be, a 3 to 5 day camping, hiking excursion, invitation. Maybe we'll limit it to a number of people, but have it like a sponsored excursion, okay? So you might get a few companies or brands that might be in on it, but basically you're having people, whether it's families, or just plain individuals who want to hike and camp with like-minded people for a 3 to 5 day trip somewhere in Northern Ontario. It starts, could be some media, some sponsors, different places might have like food or water, but the idea is that you pack, and each campsite, okay, there'll be a certain place where people could practice certain skills. So you don't have to participate. You could set up your tent, you could set up your tarp, you could set up your bivvy, you can do whatever you want, swim, fish, wherever we're at. The bottom line is we all hike in somewhat of a group for a period of time. Then there's one point, we camp there at night, we have fire, food, share some skills, share some stories. We carry on. We do this for about 3 to 5 days, depending on what the setup is. And eventually we could have different locations, or we could have some that go a little bit longer. But yeah, I think it'd be super, super cool. For some companies that do versions of that, Fjällräven Classic's one of them. I don't know the number of people that they limit, but it's basically a bunch of people, and they just kind of take off and they all hike together, camp within a certain area. There's certain gear that you need to get to make sure that you're properly equipped. But I think there's a lot of people who would like to do that, but fear going alone. And I think having people that maybe you're comfortable with would be a great way to start. And it'd be a great way to expose people to what this kind of lifestyle could be, which I think is great. And I think it's a great platform for Big Bush.
Yeah. Who do you see? Who comes? Like, how do we decide on that?
I don't know yet.
So that's some sort of contest or something for the people that could come on it.
Yeah, no, it could be. And like, see, and Fjällräven has a really cool concept, because there's a little bit more difficult, right? Like they have like a polar one where you basically, you're up in the polar and you basically have to get voted in, right, by people, which is a super cool concept, right? People put pitch videos, and then from that point on, you have people saying, yes, I want that person versus that person. And there's only a certain amount of people per area that are allowed to do it, which I think is really, I think it's a great concept. Whoever came up with that concept, I think is really, really cool. So yeah, I don't know at this point. I don't know what the interest would be. It'd be cool to see people's feedback. If everyone's like, shit, this is really crazy, this is really, really cool, we get tons of feedback, and then we realize this could be a pretty big thing, then we might have to find a way to kind of tone it down a bit. But I think initially it's just seeing if there's an interest, right? You do something for 3 days, it's very easy to do something on a weekend or a long weekend, right?
Yeah, no, I definitely see potential there. It's something else that was kind of, as you were sharing the idea, you know, again, my marketing brain kind of kicks in and I start thinking about how, well, you know, why we do a thing. We do it to get attention. We also do it to provide an experience and to build a community, right? Those are kind of our goals here when we're trying to build these things together. And obviously, because this project, at this point, the resources are very limited. It's a brand new company, you know, it hasn't generated any revenue yet. So we want to make sure that what we do, we get the maximum amount out of it in one of the areas, right? And something that I think, let's say we do something that is very topical, and I think we kind of talked about this at one point. So I think this idea of being able to survive with limited resources is very interesting, and more so to a broader public because of COVID-19, because of people kind of panicking and realizing how much they rely on these things that if they're not available, it's out of their control. And I think there was a lot of calmness with you because you just know you could survive outside of the grid, I guess, is right?
Yeah.
And I think that where I'm going with this is there's something that could be taught. I'm curious how many people would be interested in something like this where people could be taught to a certain degree how to survive. And I also, because I'm always trying to think of what's the way we could get maximum exposure. And we're always in our industry looking for free media. So how do we do something that's story worthy that the media would want to share with their networks? And it could be interesting to pitch somebody, let's say, for example, it could be at magazines, radio, TV, but CBC seems like it's such a good fit to try to pitch them and say, how about this for a story that your listeners might be interested in? What you do if you can't access certain resources. Imagine we could get a journalist to agree to come with us for 2 days, and they have their recording device that they bring with them, and they could do a mini audio doc. How cool would that be?
And it would be what? Watching me out there?
It could be listening, right? You just think about it in regards to like CBC radio, where they do those mini audio docs. Who knows if they would say yes to it? I mean, we could pitch them, and maybe anybody listening could help us put like that pressure of listening to that audio doc of us bringing somebody out there and how they would survive, how they would feed themselves, how they would wipe their bum, you know, how they would provide shelter, how they would warm themselves, how they would like all of the things that people feel like in this period of time were attacked, right? Their ability to shelter themselves, their ability to feed themselves, their ability to clean themselves. And it would be I think it would be interesting. I'm curious how other people feel about that.
Yeah, for sure.
I'd be interested.
I think there's variations, right? Like, obviously, people are following us because they want to see the background of us building this. Obviously, there's a real desire to see what kind of gear we put out there. But I would love to work with certain people, whether it's in our community or other type of people who are knowledge, and actually bring in almost little series, right? Like, for example, I'm not strong on foraging. It'd be great to bring in someone who is and actually have a trip that's out there.
Yes.
And someone's like, hey, we do like a spring foraging. This is what you look for in the spring. This is what you look for in the summer. Because there's different mushrooms, there's different greenery that you can or should not have, right?
Yeah.
So I think to bring on people here and there for that.
There's also in our area and across the country, there's a lot of like First Nation people that have like this old traditional knowledge that they've carried down from family to family member.
For sure.
And I've been able to meet some of these awesome people from Manitoulin Island, Brunswick, Wanapitei, Tikmishing, all of these different communities, and they have these people that have carried down knowledge. It'd be really interesting, you know, to share that knowledge and to have them involved in some way.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it'd be really, really cool. So I have one more concept that I like, and obviously I like the fact that we don't have a final decision on everything in this video. The fact that we're gonna have people come back to us and say, I like that, do it this way. How about, you know, I think
or a better version, or just a better idea altogether.
100%. Yeah. And I'm glad you said that, because I don't want to be right all the time, and I don't think that you and I are in this position because we think we're right all the time. It's just we have ideas like everyone else, and hopefully, I hope someone comes back with a better idea.
Yeah.
Because it just makes everything we do better, right?
I don't want to be right. I just want to do the right thing.
I'm going to write that shit down.
Write that one down. Yeah. Okay, cool. Idea number 2.
Idea number 2 is one of the product lines I think is going to be phenomenal for hikers or solo hikers or through hikers. Now, the reason I say that is because solo hikers, through hikers, or just hikers in general tend to want to have something lightweight. That's the first hint I'm kind of telling people.
Yeah.
So my thought is one of the items that we'll be coming out with will be lightweight, and I'm debating on, so I'll give you an extreme version. The Appalachian Trail is a trail that runs from Mexico up the coast of California up to Canada. I think there's 1 million people that hike that trail every year. And there's different trails throughout the US. There's different trails through Canada. Or in Canada, there's Algonquin Park, let's say, where everybody goes.
Yeah.
So let's use Algonquin Park because it's in our neck of the woods. We take 10 items, 10 of the same items, and almost do like a scavenger hunt where we hide them, right? We hide them throughout well-known hiking trails or well-known canoe trip adventure trails. And when we're hiding them, we take like little videos or pictures showing where we're putting it without giving it away. But it's enough to tease people for them to take a look at it and be like, I think I know where that spot is, or let's look for it. So now you have all these people going on to all these trails or canoe trails, actually looking for this item. And then when they find it, they have to post a picture, tag us in it, and we actually announce who it was. And that way there throughout the year, we'll be able to disclose who found them and be able to put them on our stories or posts as to who found the item.
Yeah, no, I love the idea of scavenger hunts. So I'm always down with that. I'm interested in that. I'm curious what the logistics are in regards to what the items are, where we would be storing them, what you know what I mean? Like how that would work, what we're allowed to do, what we're not allowed to do, what we're allowed to leave out versus what we're not allowed to leave out if we have liabilities. There's a whole bunch of little things there. We're talking about an idea. I'm curious what people think of the idea as well.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
It's very similar to geo-targeting, right?
Exactly. Same concept. Yeah.
People really love that. Okay, then I'm going to use this opportunity to pitch idea number 3 then, because I've got a pitch now.
Before you even start, it's bullshit.
Okay.
It's bullshit. Okay, hit me with it.
That's how the episode should end. Boom. No, I mean, we talked about this already, but I want to put it out there because I'm curious what people think of this. I think it would be so fun for us to do a series where maybe it's just one day or 2 days where you take somebody that's well known, a famous person, out into the forest and you murder them. Just kidding. I think there's a.
We will be on the news.
You'll get free media coverage. Then you're gonna get a free place to stay with 3 hot meals a day. No, you take them out there. People it's almost like we challenge them to go out there with you and see if they could do it. And I'm curious. I guess number one, if people think the idea is interesting, I think they're gonna say yes because it's a fucking awesome idea. But who specifically, I'm curious for you guys to throw names at us for people that would be interesting to go out there with you. And then eventually we would have to campaign for them to even agree.
I think it's one thing to suggest a celebrity to come with us, but if you could tag them in the comment section.
Even
step
better. Tag them. Because maybe they're like, that is something I would be interested in.
So are you thinking a similar version to what I did with Mitch Gagnon UFC?
100%. So yeah, exactly. And for those of you that don't know, UFC fighter Mitch Gagnon, he had never done anything like that before, where he'd gone up in the forest and just kind of survived. Actually, I'll let you explain it.
Sure. So I was actually supposed to do a solo hiking trip in Alaska, and that got canceled, but Mitch Gagnon UFC was training me for that trip. And I basically had all my Instagram followers. I think it's the first time, I've never heard it before, where they actually dictated my whole trip. They picked where I went, what I bring, what I didn't bring, everything I'm allowed to do or not do. And Mitch was like, you know what, buddy, you always do some cool shit. I want to come with you. I was like, it's not my decision. it's my followers' decision. So he actually put out a campaign to join me, and most people said yes. So I'm taking this guy out, who, you know, I don't know if he was really prepared for what we were going to go through, but yeah, we went there. We were allowed to bring no shelter, no food. We didn't know where we were going. It was somewhere in Northern Ontario, remote, no service. And we basically had to survive, make shelter, find bait. We were allowed to bring a fishing line and a hook. And that's what we did.
Awesome.
It was amazing. But we went through everything. I thought I lost him on day one. We almost had hypothermia day 3. We actually built a sauna, like out of like bushcraft sauna. It was like, everything was cool about it. But there were some scary moments, and there was, no, I didn't fear of starving, but you know, his initial thought was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" You know? But I think cool concept. Maybe not too long, like maybe 2-3 days, but
Yeah.
I think the idea of a celebrity coming along where it's no fluff. It's just, this is where it is.
It's raw.
There's no
It's raw.
super raw.
Let's see what you're made of. Let's see if you can survive.
Oh, their bragging rights with their friends in their circle would be like, dude, I just went 3 days with no food, made my own shelter. You know what I mean?
That would be an experience of a lifetime for them, right? So I feel like Leonardo DiCaprio would be like a big no, especially after shooting that movie where he had to survive that entire time.
Yeah.
But would still bring him. Would consider it. So if he asks us,
we'll put it on the dock. We'll see, you know.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so you have 3 ideas there. If you have any other ideas, share them with us. Again, I really appreciate your time. Stick around, Andre. We'll chat a little bit more after this. And thank you so much for joining. Again, don't forget to like the channel, subscribe. Literally, just kidnap people you know and bring them to your home. Log into their account, get them to subscribe, and then let them go. Basically like catch and release.
Okay, one more time, say the YouTube channel before we go.
Say that? Okay, yeah, youtube.com/Big Bush Company. So make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn notifications on and comment. We're excited to hear from you. I think this is going to be really fun. For the people that participate in this process, they're going to have a story for the rest of their lives.
100%.
Or not. If, you know, we'll see. All right. Okay. Peace.